What's up, book club lovers? Cris Sgrott with Organizing Maniacs here. And this month we're reading Buyology by Martin Lindstrom. And this was a very scientific book. So I would not put it on the top of my list of things to read. However, I am a marketing geek, and I have a marketing degree from Old Dominion University in Norfolk, Virginia. So this book was a little bit up my alley, but it wasn't what I thought it would be as far as, how it would be really helpful for organizing. However, I did take a couple of interesting takeaways that I would like to share with you. So here at Organizing Maniacs in the DC metro area, we specialize in working with clients with brain-based challenges. So the majority of our clients have ADD, ADHD, OCD, and hoarding tendencies. So whenever we read books, we try to connect what we do for people and how the book fits in. So I have a couple of takeaways that I like to share with you guys today. So my first one was that in page 92, he talks about how families with more structure and predictable routines had children that experienced fewer respiratory illness and better overall health. And they also performed better in elementary school. And this was a study that had been done in the Journal of Family of Psychology. I don't know how that has anything to do with biology, but I just thought it was really interesting facts, and it talks about a little bit of, predictability, routines, and time management, and I thought that was a really interesting fact in the book. I don't have kids, but I venture to say that because kids are so overscheduled nowadays, there's not a whole lot of structure per se, and even though there are predictable routines, their routines don't seem to be very, very, set on the same way. So I wonder if there's something to be said about that. I'll let you guys out there figure that out, what that means. He also talks about how we come from a world of hunters and gatherers. We all know that. The cave peeps definitely were into, finding things and picking things up and collecting things. So we are hardwired to accumulate. So we should definitely be aware of that. The minimalists have nothing to worry about, but the rest of us definitely have to be conscientious of all of the stuff that we're, bringing into our lives. He also talked about that we tend to collect more when our lives are out of control. And we tend to live in the current time. This is April of 2018, and the political world that we live in is very scary. The worldwide threat is scary. So we have a lot of things that have pushed us to be out of control. So when we're out of control, we tend to collect things. So we should all be aware of that. If you're using things to cope with anxiety, perhaps that's something that it might need heightened awareness for you. He talked about how one of the fastest growing industries in the United States is the self-storage unit. So I always find it fascinating how much money people pay to store things that they haven't seen for years. This week I worked with a really lovely couple. They were both what I call mature adults when they met each other. They both had households and they had complete independent bachelor and bachelorette lives. And then they got married and they merged their stuff together. And for the last 8 years, they have had some of their stuff in storage. And when I asked, do you have any idea what's there? Neither of them could, name a whole lot that had been in storage. And it doesn't surprise me that when I do go to storage with them after they've been paying for storage for so long, that it turns out that there's nothing in there that's really of value. I have one client in particular that always, he's been my friend for a real long time, and he always, randomly texts me about the fact that, we went over there to his storage and we got rid of just about everything that was in there with exception of a few things. And he texts me and he says, I never miss anything that was ever in storage, and I don't know why I pay for it for so long, which is a clear example that a lot of the things that people are keeping in storage are completely not important to them, but we have this attachment to that stuff, so we can't let go. So, and there are lots of factors contributing to that, right? Amazon probably has us addicted to stuff. You can go over there, you can click literally 2, maybe 3 buttons if you're lucky, and before you know it, a box shows up to your front door and whatever it is that you ordered has been delivered. I have been guilty of ordering things and 2 days later the box is there and I'm like, what in the world did I order? I don't even remember making the purchase. So we should be very conscious of that because it happens to a lot of us. I have also been guilty to, watching television in the middle of the night and an infomercial comes on and then I linger on a little bit longer than I should. And then before you know it, I find myself saying, oh my God, I totally need that product. And then and then right before I purchase it, I'm thinking like, what am I doing? What am I saying? I don't need that product. I can't believe I just said that. So we have to all be very careful to the psychology of purchasing. So this book was literally mostly about the psychology that marketers use to get us to purchase things, and they're getting very clever in their marketing, which has to do with the fact that we are very emotional people, and if you have noticed lately, a lot of the commercials are very like story likes, and we really relate to that. We relate to other humans, we relate to their story, we relate to their testimonials, and when we relate to that, we're much more likely to purchase their products. So buyers, beware if you find yourself watching some random person telling you how awesome something is in the middle of the night and you are like, oh my God, I like that person. Perhaps you should wait at least one day before purchasing that thing, just so you don't have a purchasing regret. A few weeks ago, I went to see one of my clients, and he has this beautiful home downtown Washington, D.C., and he had a chair full of like random tchotchkes, and when I walked in, I said, what's happening? And he says, oh my God, those are all my Facebook purchases in the middle of the night. I don't even know why I bought this stuff or why do I have it, and I don't even know how to use some of it, right? So that stuff is coming at us now in a lot of different ways that we have never really thought about it before. And especially, the internet has made our lives much more simpler, but it also has made us much more complicated. One thing that I always get sucked into, and once again, complete honesty here, is whenever on the bottom of whatever, Amazon, Netflix, Amazon Prime, whatever, it says, people that have purchased this also have purchased this. And you are like, oh, well, that's an interesting thing I never thought about buying before. And before you know it, I'm clicking to find out what other things people that have bought that are similar. And then you end up making more purchases. So we have to just be very conscious of what we're purchasing nowadays. And that's what basically that whole book was about. But at the end of it, he has some really, kind of tough questions. I'm going to leave you with those thoughts as we wrap up this book club. First question is, how are you feeling while you're buying this thing? Are you buying it because you're trying to cope with some level of stress? Or are you buying it because you're feeling like I really need this item? How are you feeling about this purchase? Are you immediately feeling guilty because you feel like you shouldn't have spent the money? And the how you're feeling about it is a very important question to ask, because then it has lingering effects on your body and in your mind about that product, which is basically the same if you're asking, why are you buying this, right? Are you buying it because it's something that you really need, or are you buying it because it's something that you want, or are you just purely buying it because people that bought that also bought this, and now you need that thing too, even though you didn't know you needed it before. And what are some of the things that you're buying all the time? Are you buying things that you know you can consume and they're just practical for your life and they just make your life easier? I know that, you know, I have a few things that I get delivered kind of like auto delivery, and I purely buy them that way because they make my life super simple and I don't have to remember to go get another one whenever it expires. It just automatically shows up, and I just love that convenience of having that thing delivered. But you know, there are certainly other things that I'm buying out of impulse. I buy a lot of books. You'd be surprised about that, right? I buy a lot of books, and sometimes I start reading them and I'm like, oh, this book is so poorly written. And instead of, you know, taking some of the stuff back, I just let it linger around just because I buy the books. But what, you know, what are you buying? What are you keeping? You know, why are you buying it? And how are you feeling about it? Are just some really 3 important questions that you should be asking yourself if you find yourself in making too many purchases, or if you're feeling overwhelmed about, you know, your buying habits. So we create this amazing report. It's just a summary of what we just talked about. If you like to read instead of watch videos, you're welcome to sign up. We deliver them for all of the people that like to stay in touch with us. So if you like to get a copy of it delivered to your inbox every month, you're welcome to stay in touch, and we do that. The only way you can get this copy is if you stay in touch with us. So only our friends get a copy of it. And if you like more help getting organized, you can always contact us. Once again, I'm Cris Sgrott with Organizing Maniacs, and you can find us at OrganizingManiacs.com. Until next month, happy reading. I'll see you soon. Bye.